Hello, I'm Brian Jurwitz. I am the Chief Operations and Revenue Officer at Arrow Payments. And thank you for joining our session today. We will be speaking about finding external help for managing payment systems and PCI compliance on university campuses. I'm going to walk through a brief introduction to Arrow Payments and the way we approach supporting universities, and then going to introduce you to some of our clients. So if you have any questions or if there's any ways we can be helpful, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Look forward to sharing our experience with you and being helpful in any way that we can. So for a little bit of background, higher education institutions have been managing payments and PCI compliance for a number of years now. As technology continues to evolve and PCI compliance becomes more complex, you have a number of different challenges to deal with. Obviously, universities are like little cities. Every department has its own software systems, its own business processes. So remaining compliant within those systems can be a challenge, especially if you lack the experience or the payments expertise on staff and trying to find those resources to help manage everything for you and your campus. We also understand that universities have tight budgets, and it can sometimes be difficult because you're dealing with RFPs and situations where you have, exclusive arrangements with processors or technologies that limit the options that you may be able to utilize on your campus. At Arrow Payments, we've been around since 2005, primarily focused on helping merchants and our clients figure out their payment systems, setting up payments, managing those systems, PCI compliance, and supporting any departments that may need new solutions.
My name is Better Federation. I'm the Director of Cash Management at Cornell University. I've been involved with PCI compliance now about 10 years. When I first started, we just had a knowledge of the PCI, of what was going on, and it's just expanded a lot more. So my role right now is I help oversee with Kevin Mooney, the whole PCI compliance, and we have been having issues controlling the PCI compliance, which is why we now have partnered with Arrow to help us to mitigate all of our departments and make sure that they are compliant and functioning in the best manner they can. And I will let Kevin introduce himself.
All right, so I'm Kevin Mooney, Assistant Director of Cash Management at Cornell University. So I've been in the Treasurer's Office for about 5.5 years, and that whole time has been spent doing many things. Among them is PCI compliance, or really harvesting all of the PCI compliance information from our merchants to make sure they are doing what they need to do. And also for during that time, I've also been the liaison, if you will, between our merchants and the credit card processors. So when it comes to acquiring the right solutions, whether it be in person or e-commerce or mail order, phone order, they would usually come to me in the office, and then I would go out to our processors to see, what they have available that would best meet their needs. And really, based on our experience, we were finding that we were limited really as far as the devices we could offer. Our resources were very tight here in Treasury, so we couldn't really dedicate a whole lot to researching new solutions. And so when we were in that situation, we realized that it was time to reach out and find a partner that could help us, with that, and really help us find the best possible solution out there for each and every one of our merchants on campus.
When it comes to credit card processing, we know that it is extremely complex. You have everything from the way your customers are approaching different merchants on campus, whether that's athletic tickets or your foundation, parking garages, dining halls, tuition. The list goes on and on. And then there are the different devices that are available for processing credit cards, swiping, typing, tapping, dipping. And again, the technology continues to evolve. Then you have all the different payment gateways, the processors, the acquirers, the card brands, and all of the different vendors that touch any transaction anytime you're processing credit cards. Obviously, all of this information needs to be secure and PCI compliant. As we come in to help our clients, we typically start out running a full discovery project where we want to understand exactly how every department is processing payments, what systems are they using, what's working, what's not working, as well as whether or not those departments are PCI compliant, if there are risks or rogue activities where they are going off and kind of conducting business in their own ways versus following university procedures. We can also help put together strategies for managing payment systems, upgrading payment systems, and then dealing with all the different vendors that may be the best options for you and your departments in managing and delivering the best payment systems possible. We also then provide full support for our clients so that their departments can reach out to us for our expertise, for training, for filling out SAQs, for implementing new solutions, evaluating options, and continuing to process payments in the most effective ways possible.
Hi, my name is Dawn McAdams-Mole. I'm a solutions advisor at Aero Payments. I've been with Aero Payments for about 1 year now. Before joining Aero Payments, I was the director of PCI compliance at the University of Pennsylvania for about 11 years. When I was at the university handling the merchant accounts and solutions on my own, I felt as though I couldn't get a lot of work done in a timely manner. I had to rely on just making sure that I made my priorities for those who came first or those who needed solutions quick and fast, and a lot of things got put on the back burner. I was offering very limited solutions to the schools and centers at the university. We, had very limited contracts with payment gateways, as well as our merchant bank. We didn't have very many terminals to choose from. So those terminals that I would hand out would be, analog, dial out terminals. After I joined Aero Payments, I found that there were so many other solutions that would be P2PE, dashboards that were so much easier to use for reporting and statements. You didn't have to log into like 10 different portals just to do a reconciliation. You could go into one specific solution and get all the information you needed. It really did open my eyes to like solutions that could help, and that could have helped me for the last 11 years, as well as the departments. It would make a lot of lives easier in the end.
We also do not use any of our own technology, so we'll work with whatever solutions are going to be best, again, for your departments, for your school, and help you to navigate the options that are out there in order to be, again, PCI compliant, secure, process payments as efficiently and cost effectively as possible.
Well, name is Jason Barnes, Western Michigan University. Title is Director of Advancement Services, working in the Office of University Advancement. And what my group provides is the hardware, data, software, and analysis for all of the fundraising efforts. So we are chiefly concerned with how we can bring in funds through as many different vehicles as possible. Yeah, and I tell you, having come from the private sector to education or nonprofit, either way you slice it, there seems to be a lot of mindset of, oh, we can't do what business does, or we can't do these things. We don't have budget. We don't have people. You can get around not having resources by relying on partners. You can get around budget by identifying the things that truly save you money or bring you in more money in the long run. So
we like to say we're the team on your team. So we handle all of the details so that you can focus on managing the university and your departments get the support and solutions that they need. And we do everything from receiving phone calls and emails to tracking support tickets, reporting back to Treasury, IT, and all of the PCI compliance groups that may exist on campus, and then continue to provide that ongoing education and expertise to your university.
Well, so my name's Katie Todd. For those of you that do not already know me, I have been in the payments industry for gosh, maybe about just almost 10 years now, a little under 10 years. And the majority of that was spent at a large university, managing all of the PCI compliance and merchant services for the entire university and the medical center that they had there. It was a lot to handle alone as one person, but it was the best experience. I learned so much. So, you know, a team of one is an extraordinary feat to accomplish every day. Every day it was something new at the university, and, you know, which I love, but at the same time, didn't allow for much freedom. I kind of locked down into juggling a ton of balls and going every direction, people coming at you in every direction. And it was exhausting. You know, again, just as a single person trying to manage the entire merchant relationship. You know, that's working with vendors, all of the merchants, and they had about you know, over 300 merchant accounts. So managing all of that, combined with the medical center, was again quite exhausting. It did give me a ton of experience. So I feel like I have experienced just about everything that could be experienced until the next day comes. And of course, it's always going to be something new.
Yes.
So
These are some of the reasons why universities are starting to outsource merchant services and management, payment systems, and PCI compliance to external vendors. Biggest ones being efficiency, expertise, and cost, so that they're not having to manage all of these details for their departments, and the departments are getting the level of service that they deserve and expect in order to operate as effectively as possible.
We were in a situation where we needed to move quickly. So when you look at the time of putting out, let's say, even if we were able, given the time that we're in right now, where, you know, a lot of companies aren't hiring at this particular moment, so it would have been a struggle for us to even hire an employee if we wanted to, given the situation. But if we were, then we would have to put together a job description, put it out, recruit, interview, hire, train, and now you're 12 months out before they're finally up and running, to be able to adequately handle a lot of the PCI compliance and the merchant services that we provide to people all across campus. So by going outside, now we're able to immediately acquire a significant level of knowledge that we can apply right away and help our merchants tomorrow with a lot of great solutions and a lot of good advice and really terrific guidance as far as completing the SAQ on an annual basis. And pretty much any other question that our merchants may have can be answered right away. And it's also important to note that knowledge transfer would then be minimal on our end because people come and go. So, you know, no one stays in any one place forever. So whatever happens on our end in terms of turnover, we know that Arrow has the information, will always have that information handy. And therefore there's much less work that we have to do on our side to get people up to speed.
and when you're the only person working on all of those merchant related needs, no one else around you and the university really understands what that entails necessarily. So I personally was desperate to get outside help in to help out with everything there. The constraints that I ran into in trying to convince you know, the decision makers on where to go with that ran from budget, you know, giving others access to systems. So I think once we overcame those and, you know, we're very creative in overcoming those, it's just been, I think, a really great decision on the university's part. And they've really gotten a bang for their buck for sure.
I would say for years, we, Treasury, because of all of the requirements we had in terms of completing bid applications and ordering devices and helping research transactions, there was a bottleneck on our side, and we admit that. And there were times where we were not providing the a level of service that we thought was exemplary, and that's our bar. We really strive to provide exemplary service to our merchants. And we found that a lot of the work was causing things to back up on our side, and we weren't providing as great a level of service as we wanted to. So that was one of the primary reasons why we reached out for a service provider, a partner such as Arrow, and that really helped alleviate the bottleneck. And now things are going really well.
I was nervous to bring in an outside group to help with new solutions and merchant related tasks, because I thought that it made me look bad if I wasn't getting my job done. But now that I see, working with other schools and centers and other treasury departments, we're actually just another extension to the treasury team or PCI team, which is really great because you can get a lot done, a lot more done than just being a one person, department.
Relying on vendors or subject matter experts in the area is terrific. We can't know everything. We live in a specialized society. I know some things, you know some things, we come together. We know more things as a team. So relying on good partners, specifically like Arrow Payments, can really help pave the way to success. It shortens your need to know everything and educate yourself, and can really accelerate a project timeline because you're relying on those people who have built the wheel before, who have climbed Mount Everest before, and can guide you on that path, coach you on that path. Can really, when it comes down to it, save you from the bruises that they themselves or some of their other partners may have gone through before. So, I highly recommend looking to the subject matter experts, vendors in the space, and definitely recommend Payments.
All right. Hello, my name is Marcy LaRoche. I'm the VP of Client Success here at Arrow Payments. I've been with Arrow Payments for about 3 years. Prior, I had experience in the fintech industry, helping organizations fight credit card fraud. I lead our client success team. So that includes our support team, as well as our solutions advisors. So our main goal is to create a really extraordinary customer experience for every single department and every university or healthcare system that we work with, so that they feel supported in optimizing the solutions they have today, as well as recommending new solutions and helping them to implement them, and supporting all of their payment solutions. And that includes things like troubleshooting devices, helping to figure out reporting and reconciliation, as well as PCI compliance, which we all know is super important to make sure that we keep the credit card information secure from those pesky hackers.
I think really about the PCI compliance in general. I've got individuals who ask me, who have said, and this has been multiple different occasions, multiple different projects, why does Western Michigan University care so much about PCI compliance? And they will cite examples of when I worked at X university or when I worked at Y university, we just did this thing. And the answer to that is because we care about our constituents. We care about our donors' identity as well as their funds. And just like a relationship between a family member or a friend of mine, I don't want to put them at any risk that I don't have to. It gets dicey, it gets complicated. So don't store this data, don't pass it this way. Sure, no problem. So then going to leadership and explaining to them, why do we need this thing? Why is PCI compliance important? That was the next hurdle. All of those things are fairly straightforward once you understand why we really care to not put our cardholder data at risk or our institution at risk, the reputation of our institution. All of those things, those arguments became very clear to leadership once explained.
We took on a discovery project with Western Michigan University. We worked with their PCI committee to prioritize which departments were the most risky, maybe had the most volume or visibility, and we went ahead and we had this discovery meetings with them. Before we got started though, The PCI committee did an awesome job of introducing who Aero Payments was and ensuring that the departments were comfortable sharing their details with us about their payment experiences. We ended up also sending out surveys, which you can see here on the right-hand side, kind of the first screen of the survey. And we received those surveys back from 53 departments. The payment survey included questions about their current payment processes, as well as what's working and not working, so we could get a foundation about what was going on at Western Michigan University. And they were very willing to tell us what was working, what was not working, and how it could be improved for WMU. And they were very excited about the fact that there could be new solutions to help them optimize and modernize their payment solutions there on campus. In the actual discovery meetings, you can see here on the right-hand side, we were taking detailed notes throughout every conversation. We dug into what the challenges were for the department, both for them as their staff, as well as for their customers. We wanted to get a really good understanding of the challenges they were having, any security concerns that were coming up from a PCI compliance standpoint, as well as any vulnerabilities or risks for the university. From there, we were able to formulate our payment strategy for Western Michigan. So we gave them the playbook. We said, here, based on what we heard, here's what's working, what's not working, here's the greatest risks for your university. We went out and we looked at various different payment solutions and put together a game plan for them as to how they could be PCI compliant, how they could implement new solutions, and what the best fit was that was going to meet the needs of the most departments there on campus. We not only made those recommendations, but we also offered up our implementation services and our support services for those departments to make sure that they got implemented the right way, the most PCI compliant way, as well as that they were supported ongoing. All while the PCI committee was a part of this project, giving oversight and approval on all the solutions that we wanted to implement there on campus. So Western Michigan engaged us to implement a number of these point-to-point encryption or P2PE solutions on campus that we had recommended for the campus. First, we organized a town hall kickoff meeting where we had all the departments that were going to be impacted by this, everyone who was taking credit card payments. We all met together and we shared with them all of the new solutions that were going to be implemented on campus. This was not a one-size-fits-all. Each department needed something special, and we met with them to identify and recommend what was going to be the right fit for them. During this time, we met with the PCI committee on a weekly basis to share the progress of the project. And I'm very proud to report that we implemented all these new solutions within 6 months when the PCI committee had been working on it for 6 years. So we were really appreciative of their support and vice versa. So we worked together to get these up and running so that WMU could be PCI compliant, could be P2PE across campus. And the departments were enthusiastic because they were getting new solutions which really met the needs of them, their clients, donors, patients, students, all their different constituents there as well.
Yeah, take time and do your research, but also rely on the partners and experts that are out there. There are people who've done this work before, and not every vendor is the same. But get down to brass tacks and see what they can really do for you, and know what you need done.
One of the things that we find when we're doing the discovery project and we start to implement is that there really is not a one size fits all. And we'd love to say, oh, okay, we can take this one solution and it applies to every single department on campus. But as you well know, athletics ticketing needs something entirely different than the alumni relations team needs, which needs something entirely different than admissions, which needs something entirely different than the theater that you have on campus there, right? And so point-to-point encryptions are not able to integrate with every single software solution. So that's one of the things that we, is a good education piece when we talk to PCI committees or treasury operations team. Is
the one challenge, especially for a large university like Cornell, is that we know it is not feasible to have a one-size-fits-all approach. So that's really always going to be, I wouldn't necessarily call it a pain point per se, but I would call it a reality. And that the fact is we have a veterinary hospital, we have a full-service hotel, we have a law school, we have continuing adult education. So there's a lot of different initiatives that are taking place on campus, and not one solution is going to meet all of those, all of those different departments. So the best we can do is to continue, researching, and now that Arrow is partnering with us, they can help us research and really dig down and deep and find the solutions that are working best for the particular industry that the particular department serves. And there may be, an ERP that works specifically for hospitality, for instance. So we would want Arrow to look into opportunities there to meet the needs of our hotel, and so on, for all the different areas on campus. So that's just going to be something we'll continue trying to manage. And I think really now that we have a partner on our side, we'll be able to really stay on top of that and make sure that departments are getting the best possible solution to meet their needs at the best possible price.
And with so many universities that are experiencing hiring freezes or furloughs or layoffs at this point right now, that this is a position that, while it's incredibly critical, it's hard to find that talent and it's hard to keep it. And now, with so little ability to hire and grow in that space, that we can fill in the gaps for them there without having to hire someone and try and get them full time on doing this. And that you get a full team of people, that you're never just, it's never just one person. So you don't have to hope that person's not on vacation or they're calling them when they're on vacation, like on the beach or whatever, asking like, I can't get my thing to work. And so it's just like, it's not a sustainable way to manage huge universities with departments, that sort of thing. Next is a snapshot here from our ongoing engagement with the University of Delaware. They had discovered a PCI compliance gap that needed to be remediated very quickly earlier last year. And so during a 6-week period, we ordered, tested, and deployed 42 P2PE devices to 14 departments. We also trained 55 staff members on those devices and the reporting dashboard that went along with the solutions. During that time, we not only trained and supported their departments, but we also completed 185 calls to their payment processor Card Connect on their behalf. We saved them hours of time for the cashier's office and the UD departments during this deployment. We also completed multiple integrations to software systems and created a new refund policy for the university, all within that 6-week period. So we can certainly move very quickly if that's what warrants the situation there at your university.
Some of the challenges with working with new schools is just trying to find out how their school works, whether all the departments rely on the treasury team to open a new merchant account, or if the schools are going out and signing their own contracts. I feel that every school, university, college, they're all different. Everybody's working in different ways. But at the same time, Arrow Payments coming in and working with the support team, we're able to see, if one department at one school is doing one type of thing using one software system, and we go to another school and they're using the same, we can kind of connect them and work together to bring in the new solutions and have that experience.
Universities are very, very, very similar. You all have all very similar needs. But everyone is very unique. And, as I mentioned before, every day is different and everyone has their own issues that arise. I think the main thing that was kind of an eye opener for me is, I thought the university I was working at was the most unique, but it was just interesting to see that these concerns are shared across so many of your peer universities. And it was just humbling, but also concerning that you're not alone in all of your concerns, that there's issues across the board everyone's having. And, vendor wise too, there's a plethora of processors, gateways. We all have our favorites, but, there are so many out there that fulfill so many different needs.
And last but not least, I'll note also Northwestern University. The work that we did with Northwestern was recognized by the PCI Council with this case study you can see up on the screen here. Northwestern implemented PCI validated P2PE solutions across their campuses, reducing their PCI scope and significantly reducing the manual processes between their departments and the Treasury Department.
I think finding people to recommend a vendor is key, because they've gone through it, experienced it, and they can tell you the good, bad, and ugly. So certainly just reaching out to your peers and asking around. I know this is a very close-knit community, and we all talk and share things. So, I would just recommend reaching out and asking anyone their recommendations of who they've worked with in the past. And
we have heard everything from, let's say, the more quiet sigh of relief to the more louder, exuberant cries of joy. So there's, it runs the gamut as far as what our merchants have experienced now that they're working with Arrow Payments, because they're really happy to have someone there for them. Whether it's answering an email or going through a phone call or actually walking through step by step how to pull the right report that they need, or even how to set up a hosted payment page that really helps consolidate all of their e-commerce activity. It's been nothing but great news and great word of mouth that's going out around campus.
I've only heard positive news. We have departments that are reaching out that we never thought would reach out to Arrow as soon as they found out how well Arrow has been helping other departments. So we now have just departments calling and asking and wanting now to work with Arrow in order to become compliant and get the best solution possible for them. So it's nothing but tremendous positive news from our university.
Yeah, I think we helped a lot of merchants clear some roadblocks where, and we didn't know because they had never reached out, but they were struggling with, perhaps they had a particular website that had a very clunky payment processing system. So they had to do a lot of reconciliation on the back end, and maybe they just thought that that's just how it was. But when we went out and we told everyone that we were partnering with Arrow, and they sat through the discovery meeting with Arrow, and now they realize that, hey, I don't have to deal with this anymore, and Arrow is giving me a solution that's much more intuitive, and it makes their lives a whole lot easier. I don't even want to think about going back at this point. But I think if we had to go back and start managing a lot of the PCI compliance and the payment processing procedures on our own, we would have to reallocate a lot of our resources to that effort. And so what that would mean for us would be less room for innovation, less room to take on other projects. I think we would not be as flexible as we are right now. So that would be something that anyone would have to prepare for if they're looking to resume handling all of this activity in-house. They would really have to plan on dedicating a lot of resources to that effort, resources that otherwise would have gone to perhaps taking on a new project or looking at more ways to provide value to the university.
At least in Treasury, I know that working with Arrow has been such a great benefit to us. The knowledge that is brought into Cornell, the options, the capacity of the resources available to Cornell at this point are beyond, I think, our expectations of what was going to come into Cornell. And I think our departments are seeing that as well. The benefit to Cornell partnering with Arrow has just taken a huge weight off of our shoulders, because now we work with the experts and we can provide the best solutions to our departments, and they know it, and they have faith that this is going to work for them. And it's been wonderful. It's been a great experience, and we look forward to continuing the relationship with Arrow.
And you can also reach out to us directly for help. We are more than happy to schedule a complimentary consultation, discuss any of the details that may be challenging at your school, goals you're working on, and ways that we can be helpful. Thank you again for attending our session, and look forward to talking with you soon.